How's it, everybody? A warm welcome to the NFT show. I'm your host, Philip Galinko, and tonight we're going to be looking at projects which are flying despite the bear market. We really are in a bear, and to bring home the case in point, if we have a look here at the OpenSea volume, it is the lowest it's been since August last year. Yesterday, we clocked in $25 million, which is really quite low. But the thing is that we are seeing an increase in LooksRare. They did about $12 million yesterday. So if we add that together, we're about $37 million, which is still very, very low. I do think that this going sideways is relatively healthy considering where we're at. And hopefully we can start moving up at some stage. But for now, there really isn't that much volume. If we look at March overall so far, we're on $2.3 billion. I think it's very important to know that most of this number is from the other deeds sales that we had those days. I mean, just those 2 days alone is almost $900 million. And other deeds has been near the top every day since. So yeah, it's a bit deceptive to look at this number because that looks quite healthy. But yeah, if we remove other deeds from that, it's not that healthy. Then if we have a look here, we've got OpenSea monthly NFTs sold, the amount of NFTs that have been sold. You're looking at 1.3 million so far for the month. The last month you were looking at about 2 million, month before 1.8. So that's our OpenSea overview. If we have a look at the collections that are mooning at the moment, this is 24 hours, and the top one here, Trip and Ape from Solana, sitting at a 54 sol floor. Then we got Goblin Town, which we're going to look into tonight in a lot of detail. Then we got other deeds down slightly, just under 3 Ethereum. They've been holding at about 3.2 the last couple of days. Bored Ape Yacht Club a bit further down, sitting around the 90 mark. Yesterday they were about 95. We've got OK Duck Yacht Club, a derivative. We are seeing derivatives taking off, which in a way is bullish. I mean, there's people eager, but a derivative is a derivative with usually very little long-term sustainability. We then have Boki slowly but surely climbing at 0.2, great volume for a floor price of this size. We've got AI Moonbirds, another sort of derivative. Actually prefer the art of these to the art of the real Moonbirds. I'm not a big pixel fan, but what we are seeing with this collection is people who own Moonbirds are looking for their matching AI Moonbird. That might be attributing to the volume. We've got Mutant Ape Yacht Club up slightly from yesterday, 19.3. Art Blocks, which is appearing more and more often. OK Bears at 200 Solana. Verb Chapter 1 at 0.1 ETH. Degen Tunes continuing their climb. We did do a video on them very recently if you want to learn more about this project. Another Solana project, Bunnies and Homies. We've got Doodles sitting at 12.68 and Clone X sitting at 13.5. If we have a look here just to get an idea of red versus green, if we scroll down the last 24 hours, there is much more red than there is green. A couple of collections are green, meaning they've increased in value, but overall they are decreasing in the last 24 hours. If we jump here to crypto and we have a look here, slight increase over here. I did see that JP Morgan came out with a statement today, quite bullish on Bitcoin. Not saying that's the reason for this slight increase, but yeah, very small increase. Mixed bag on the Ethereum tokens. You got some good green, also some red there. Omni token, the USDT is down, and other tokens seem to be quite a lot of green over there. But yeah, nothing massive as far as positive changes. It's all small percentages happening over here. All right, so let's start with our first collection that we're going to be looking into. So remember, tonight we're looking at projects that are mooning in the last week, that are doing really, really well in the last week, and trying to understand more about these projects. Why are these projects doing well? And dive a bit deeper. So if we have a look here, this is Chimpers, currently sitting at a two Ethereum floor price, 5,600 items with a 50% owner ratio, which is pretty average. Volume traded 7.7 thousand Ethereum, so 7,700 Ethereum, which is a huge amount, especially in this market. Just to show you some of the artwork over here, this is the collection that you're looking at. And then if we jump onto the activity, we'll see here that they only launched on the 21st, so less than a week old. And again, that really just puts in perspective that 7,700 Ethereum is huge. It really, really is, especially in this type of market. Having a look here, 48 sales today so far, 72 yesterday. Then we're having a look, 214 the day before. If we jump onto RC Tools and just have a look here, give us a nice sort of bird's eye view of this. You can see here the volume in the last 24 hours is down 50%. Sales is down 50%. 24-hour average price is slightly down 2%. Sales floor is slightly down 2%. If we jump and have a look here at the last 7 days, just to try and get an idea of the floor. Wow, I mean, when it came out, huge demand. Tailing off at the moment. It is to be expected. It's hard to replicate the hype of the first day or so. So this is quite natural, and we'll be looking to find some sort of floor wherever that is, and then they should stabilize because this is a really decent collection, and we're gonna dive deeper into it. If we have a look here, just a chart showing you the average versus the sales floor, the average sale versus the sales floor, and number of sales here. You can see has tailed off. So that is RC Tools. These guys were released at 0.07 Ethereum. So really doing incredibly well. If we jump onto their website over here, we can have a look here. It says the Chimpers were mysteriously born through scientific experiment that went unnoticed by the rest of the populace. As you can see, they're Pixelated Monkies. So here they talk about the Genesis Chimpers, right? There's 100 of them. And if we just jump here, you can see this is the Genesis collection, which launched a while ago. And you can see here 100 items or 97 items with a 35 Ethereum floor price. So when they're talking about the Genesis ones, that's what they're talking about. And then since then, they've launched these. Roadmap and utility, we'll just have a look here. There's no particular roadmap. They call it the Chimpmap. If we just have a look here, and it says our ethos has always been to underpromise and overdeliver, providing value to our collectors through mystery, surprise, and reward. As a team, we are driven to delight our collectors, and you can expect more of the same as we journey through our next adventure and build ours. Our multimedia brand. So yeah, not promising anything, but saying that they want to promise and over-deliver. That works with a proven track record project like this one. I mean, to hold this floor price is quite incredible. Whereas, I mean, if it was a project that we'd never ever heard of before and didn't know anything about the team or anything, then that would be a bit of an issue. If we have a look here at the founders or the team, you've got Insight, you've got Timpers, who's the artist and the main founder, and then you've got Sir Joey. So if we just jump here onto Timpers, you can see here founder Chimpers, TBA Chronicles, and he was the artist for Noun Doa. So he's a very well-known artist in the space. He is doxed. It's also on Foundation, which is always bullish. And you can see here, I mean, just personally, he's got a following of 50,000. So well-respected in the NFT space, well-known in the NFT space. If we have a look here at Chimpers Twitter, see here 107,000 followers, which is massive. Their pinned tweet here has got 1,000 retweets, 2,500 likes. So yeah, relatively good engagement, but they really doing well. I just want to see here. I did go into their Discord earlier. It had over 30,000 people, which is also good. Seemed very active and very positive. If we go back here and just have a look at the vision, since we began our journey, we have considered every step with the community at the forefront of our minds, because without them, there is no adventure. We have sought to foster these connections, and we take great pride in the inclusive and supportive core that we have built along the way. As a Chimpers holder, you will be joining us on an epic adventure. We will quest, uncover the mysteries of the Chimp first, and more importantly, we will unite to create a universe that can be remembered for decades to come. And then here's a nice write-up from Timper, and gives his background. I'm not going to read it all to you, but basically that he's been in the space since 2014. Social media background. I like this. It makes it more personal. It's a letter from him to anyone who's looking into the project, which is really good. The origin. So the quest for the Diamond Fleece is the Genesis series, a community-driven collection made up of 6 interconnected episodes, combining Timpers art with insight storytelling. The monotonous ape embarks on a thrilling journey in a world previously ravaged by faction and divide. They are forced to come together on a quest in search of the sacred Diamond Fleece artifact. In the final episodes, the ape reaches the portal that takes them to the Chimpverse. So definitely got a lure going on, a story going on. And now we've got 2 collections. We've got the Genesis, and then we've now got the one that launched now, the 5,500 collection. Here you've got your different levels. It creates a full set and what you get, and then just some questions about the mint and things like that. So yeah, guys, I think it's a interesting project, a notable team or notable founder and artist, definitely holding up incredibly well in this market that we're in, like really incredibly well. Coming from a 0.07 mint a week ago to holding a 2 Ethereum floor is really good, really bullish. And yeah, congratulations to the team. Definitely a decent project with good prospects in the future, in my opinion. Obviously, not financial advice. Then this one's a very interesting one. We got CPG-POP. All right, so this is a collection, also has a Genesis collection, similar to Chimpers that we just looked at, which we'll jump into as well. But this is the collection that launched recently. You're looking at 2,800 items with 2,100 owners. So a very high owner ratio, which is always bullish. It just means that it's harder to manipulate the floor price. If a big amount is held in a few hands, if that person decides to sell or dump, that can really have a big impact. But when the owner ratio is spread over more people, or a high percentage of people compared to the items in the collection, that's always it means that you've got a more stable floor price, harder for it to be manipulated by a few people, right? If we have a look here, floor price 1.49 Ethereum. But important to remember here that the mint price was 3 Ethereum. Okay, so it's down 50% from mint. Again, we are in a bear market. Long term, I personally have conviction in this project, and we're going to look into it now. You can see that they've done 2,900 Ethereum in volume, which is also very bullish for the time that we're in. This is the artwork. You can just see it's like the retro type items. I used to have one of these. I actually still do. I don't know what they're actually called. What are they called? You put the slides inside. I've got one. But old retro type items. This is all stuff from my day. I mean, it's all the 80s stuff, which is quite cool to see. Takes you a bit back. Yeah, the TV sign there. So that's what you're looking at as far as the art goes. If we have a look at the activity over here, you can see that they launched on the 15th. So you're looking 10 days ago. It was a bit of a dip there, quite a bit of a dip, and then sort of came up and is now finding some stabilization. Sales are not as frequent as you may want in general. But again, we are in a bear market, really and truly. So yeah, I mean, what are we looking at? About 12 a day, one every 2 hours. If we jump onto IC Tools, we can just have a look here. You can see 24-hour volume and sales is down 60% on average. Sales floor price is down about 17%, and the average price is down about 10%. If we just change this to 30 days, you can see there, that's what it's looking like. If you go 7 days, seems to be a bit more of an upward trajectory if you look on the 30-day volume side. So what is this collection about? So let's have a look here. This is their website. So you can see here, crypto package goods. We've been looking at the POP collection, but then there's also the Genesis collection. So let's just jump into the Genesis collection quickly. You can see here 311 items, owners, and it's mixed between these items. So there's only 11 artworks and multiple owners of each. But again, holding a very, very strong and solid floor price of 15 Ethereum with 1,300 Ethereum traded since inception. And you can see here, they launched on the 5th of March, and yeah, gone as high here as 30 Ethereum, which is quite incredible. That was probably pre the launch of this. Let's just see the date here, the 15th of the 5th. And if we have a look here, that's the 15th over there. So yeah, this volume was all sort of in anticipation of the new drop. Obviously, your Genesis holders, I think they actually were able to claim for free. I'm not 100% sure, but I think they were. So you had a lot of action. And then once the POP collection minted, that's dropped and now seems to have found a support at about this 15 ETH price. So yeah, very interesting to see. You can see here there have been not that many sales in the last few days, but then before that launch, there were still about 2-3 sales a day. So not massive, but again, it's hard in this market to gauge because it's not a very busy market at the moment in general. So that's the Genesis ones that they're referring to, okay? So the community that has it all. So we're going to be looking at specifically the POP ones, which is what we're looking at, the ones with a 1.5 ETH floor currently. And it's saying that it grants you access to the following: focused chats for builders, professionals, and traders, Genius call seminars, product incubation channels, CPG bots and trading insights, events, and allow lists. So just to sum it up, it's got an alpha side to it, right? Where you're getting information. It's got a whitelist component where you're getting whitelists to a good future mints. And then it's got very much a networking side to it, events and incubation. There are a lot of notable holders in here that you would want access to. And they're building a community. It's actually similar from that perspective to the Proof side, and reminds me of how Proof was in the beginning. So really, focusing on the value of the community and the network that brings you. So Genesis passes, the one that's currently at a 15 ETH floor. They're saying here, this is for 300 key leaders in Web3. Since then, all-time high of 40 Ethereum, a consultancy launch, projects incubated, bot and dApp development, party conferences, activations, and plan for product drops. Just want to have a look here. If we scroll down, when launching the CPG Genesis, we went against the grain, baking in utility with extensive mentor network. Our members are founders of successful startups and prominent NFT projects, artists, venture capitalists, established Web3 executives, proven NFT traders, and aspiring builders in crypto. Now it's time to scale that utility. That's POP, what we're looking at tonight, consists of 2,777 generative ERC721A NFTs with a full spectrum of rarity and one-on-one tokens. Proceeds from the collection will be allocated to make even more utility for both Genesis and POP holders. POP is designed by Stuart Scott Curran and an ensemble of 11 secret one-of-one artists that will be revealed. Rooted in the heritage of CPG-POP art, from Liechtenstein to Warhol's Campbell's Soup Can, POP features modern interpretations of nostalgic products utilizing a variety of mediums and prints. We expect that you'll love the art. The token. So again, we have looked at what this gives you. And if we come down here, so you can expound on what they mean by each of them, right? So what does alpha chats mean? And then it sort of gives you ideas. What is the incubator? And so on and so forth. So yeah, if you want more info on this, I suggest that you jump onto their website, cryptopackagegoods.com. If we just have a look at the Twitter over here, this is their Twitter page for Crypto Package Goods. You can see here a huge following and a lot of notable followers as well, 184,100 people following them, which is really, really amazing. And then if we jump onto the two main founders over here, you can see Cantino's got 122,000 followers, also a huge amount of notable followers. And then if we have a look here at Jamie Schmidt, building also My BFF, which we've covered before, which is also a very, very successful project. Bootstrapped Schmidt's Naturals from My Kitchen to acquisition co-founder of CPG Club and an author as well. Also a very, very healthy, huge following for Jamie as well. They're both doxed. They're both very well known in the NFT space and well respected by a lot of notable people. So yeah, that gives you an idea of the Genesis crypto package goods as well as the CPG-POP. I do think that if you're going to bet on Web3 people, this team is the team to bet on. And I do think long-term, this will deliver value. And I do think there's opportunities with the market being what it is at the moment. Obviously not financial advice, and do your own research, but those are my feelings on the collection. All right, guys, now we've got Moonbird Oddities, which I'm sure all of you have seen. Also recently launched. So let's first start at activity because they haven't been revealed yet. There's not much to show in the way of art. So they were launched here the 23rd of May. They were airdropped to people who had their Moonbirds staked at the time of the snapshot. So it was sort of a stealth airdrop. They didn't make much of a noise about it, but it is under the Proof umbrella. We did do a video recently on Proof and Moonbirds themselves, but just to remind you, this is the Genesis collection, Proof Collective by Kevin Rose, very notable and respected guy in the space, sitting currently at a 73 ETH floor. These went as high as 120 Ethereum. And then you have Moonbirds, which have been trending for the last couple of weeks, which I'm sure all of you have seen, and shot very quickly all the way up to 35, 40 ETH, and are currently sitting at about 23 Ethereum. They have a thing called nesting, which is basically just staking. And the whole idea in Proof Collective is that if you stake and hold your NFTs, you'll be rewarded long term. And that's been their mantra. And I mean, you can see Moonbirds, at a 23 ETH floor is a huge reward for someone who was a Proof Collective holder. So then we've had these Moonbird Oddities dropped recently, and there's not a huge amount of definitive information out there. We know it's part of the Proof Collective. It's a 10,000 collection, and just want to have a look here. Okay, so it was airdropped to all holders who were nesting at the time of airdrop. The pellets are designed in collaboration with Greplin. So we know Greplin from Cryptodes, a well-respected artist, and will be revealing in July. So there's still about 55 days before they reveal. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what with having such a long reveal time, what the floor does. Because usually before reveal, if it's a usual time period like a week max or around there, the price tends to climb. And then obviously after reveal, there tends to be a dip because people, are waiting for res or whatever it may be. They don't like their particular one that they got. But here, having almost a 2 month before reveal, it's going to be interesting to see what the pricing does. And then just want to have a look here to give you all the right information. Okay. So look, I mean, we don't know if these are going to be part of the proof collective going forward. So is this just a thing that you get? And then if you hold this, will you get further airdrops? Are you sort of involved in the Moonbirds ecosystem now going forward? Or is this an airdrop from Moonbirds? Is it an airdrop that is just what it is and that's it? They have said that that there's going to be like different regurgitations of different like rats and mice and things like that. There's a whole thing going on, but people are not 100% sure. I do think that personally, my personal opinion, and obviously do your own research, I do think that they're not going to launch something under the proof name and then forget about it. That's my inkling, even though there's nothing official. So I do think that it could be a good entry point to a massive ecosystem. If you're willing to stick around long term for it. But what the price is going to do in the next 55 days before reveal is absolutely anybody's guess, and no one can really tell you. If we jump here onto IC tools, you can see here 24-hour volume down 43%, sales down 46%, the floor down about 3%, but the average price up about 5%. And if we just take a little bit of a view out here, you can see how stable the floor has remained. I do imagine that once more information comes out on these, that if that information is positive, which it would be silly for it not to be, and these guys are not silly, that these could quite easily be sitting at about a 5 ETH floor. How long it takes to get there and what these actually end up being is anyone's guess. So yeah, that's where we're at with those. If we just jump onto the Oddities website over here, there is very little information. It's telling you how much longer until they're going to be revealed, the pellets, and you've got a link to OpenSea and to their Twitter. So if we jump onto their Twitter, they've got their own Twitter for the Oddities. You've got 22,000 followers, which, considering that this was a stealth airdrop, so people only really found out about it when it was launched a couple of days ago, is really quite good. I'll just make this bigger for you. Oddities, actually, that's what it will be called. And many of you, even though we haven't publicly tweeted that account, many of you have already caught onto it and found it. It was the worst kept secret ever, but that was by design to some extent. So it is really a fun little project that we're working on that is going to be something that I will say isn't tied to a nesting tier per se, but it is tied to nesting. So you have to be nested to be ready to receive an oddity. And I would say that, and just shut me up if I start speaking COVID, brain too much and saying too much, but when the obvious thing that there are to do with the derivative projects being like, what other ways can we expand the Moonbirds universe? The very obvious thing that everyone was thinking about was just eggs, right? Like, it's okay, the birds will have eggs, and the eggs will produce new things that are exciting for everyone to collect and to expand out into a wider group of holding these. That was a very obvious thing. We had a very talented designer that we all respect in the space approach us and say, hey, wouldn't it be crazy if the owls did something a little bit different. And it was like, okay, tell me more amazing designer that I really respect. And you and I were there, and Justin and this person said owls. They actually hunt things like rats and beetles and mice and all these different types of little varmints, and I had no idea that this was the case. I'm learning about owls every day. It's just insane. My owl knowledge has gone so high to like in 2 weeks. So it's apparently that these owls, they eat these little vermin, and then they didn't know science, but apparently I think everybody did, but you just dissect these pellets so that they actually create these things called pellets. They don't shit them out, they regurgitate them, they vomit them, little pellets, and then when you dissect them, inside of them, these little bones of creatures are there that they end up eating. It's horribly disgusting. Okay, that's it. That's all we're going to say. Okay, so that's what they have said about this. So again, they are hinting that, from this will be further things. Yeah, interesting one, guys, for sure. And again, a good entry into a huge ecosystem, in my opinion. But yeah, time will tell how the market receives all of it. And then the last one I wanted to bring you, Goblin Town. So I think let me start off by just showing you the stats. We've got 10,000 items, 4,300 owners, so about a 43% owner ratio, which is not great and does mean if people decide to dump it, this floor price can go down. With that said, this floor price has been consistently increasing. It's now sitting at just under 1 Ethereum, which is the highest that I've seen it. And they've had 5,700 ETH traded in the last couple of days since it launched. This is the artwork for them. Whether goblins are your cup of tea or not is pretty much irrelevant, because I think the artwork is well done for what it is. So well done to them on the artwork. The activity side of things will give you a good idea that these are viral at the moment, right? They are doing well, and they seem to be increasing. So you've had 1,400 sales today alone. Yesterday was 871. Now, that don't go and buy one yet. Did the floor price just go up to 1,089? Okay, so don't go crazy yet. Let's just talk about it first, all right? If we have a look here at IC Tools, you can see 24-hour volume is up 200%, under 200%. 24-hour sales is up 80%. Sales floor is up 2%. 24-hour average is up 54%. And if we have a look here, 7 days, you can see there's a huge amount of volume, consistent volume. This is 7 days. This is really, really a large amount of transactions, and it does currently seem to be trending upwards, okay? If we have a look here, and please don't buy one yet, this is their website. Not much information here, little pictures here. You can't click on it. There's no team information, and there is no roadmap at all, okay? Let's just turn the sound off. I know you can't hear it, but I can. So these were free to mint. Again, incredible that they're sitting over an ETH, especially in a bear market. No roadmap, no Discord, no utility, CCO, so you have the rights on your Goblin. Contract wasn't actually written by goblins. Okay, so they're not taking themselves too seriously, and they're not taking their roadmap or anything seriously. But the website in and of itself is designed well also. It's not your typical derivative project or weird project, in that the websites are usually not great, and this website is well designed, the art is well designed. And if we jump onto their Twitter over here, you can see 16,000 followers. So far sounds good, right? So Philip, are you buying how many of these? So the answer is I'm not buying any of them. And the reason being is that if you just remove yourself from the hype for a second, and this is a real hype, okay? People are hungry for a project to catch on to. People are hungry for profit and flipping opportunities because there hasn't been much going on, and this just happened to catch everyone's eye. But there's absolutely nothing being promised here at all. It's not like saying, trust us, we under promise, we over deliver. It's saying that there's no roadmap, there's no Discord, there's no utility. This is just an image that you have the rights over. And so I do think that this is not sustainable unless they do a complete about turn and change their mind about this and come out and say, look, guys, we didn't expect it to do so incredibly well. And make no mistake, it has done incredibly well. We didn't expect it to do so incredibly well. It was really, a bit of a joke or whatever to begin with. But now that it has, and we've got this community, we are launching a roadmap. We are launching a Discord. We are going to give you utility. That's a different story. And they come out and say, this is who we are. But as it stands now, that is not what has happened. And that is not what seems to be happening. It seems to be that you are paying 1 Ethereum for this image, or whatever image you choose, and that is it. And yeah, for me, that's not the type of project that I want to be involved in. I want to be involved in projects that have got docs team, notable teams, great utility planned, things like that. So yeah, my hope is that they do, this is their Twitter, and my hope is that they do see that they have something here, and that they can, possibly decide to turn around their view of no utility. We're not telling you who we are and all of that. I mean, they're just retweeting anything that mentions a goblin. They're just retweeting. Someone just paid $136,000 to become Krusty Butt, the Goblin King of Goblin Town. Okay, so that's what you get for $130,000. You can get a lot. I mean, a couple of Teslas for that amount of money, right? Or you can have this car. I like the art. I don't $100,000 like the art, right? But yeah, there's been meteoric rise, and it just shows how hungry we are, which is positive. People are sitting there and they want something to catch on to. And again, if you just take a quick look here at the last 24 hours, okay, we've looked at a lot of them, but this is a derivative project sitting on the top 7 of OpenSea in the last 24 hours. Just want to make a case in point here for you guys. Here's a derivative of goblins sitting at the top 24th place, which is just crazy. I just want to see what other derivatives I've got for you here. So yeah, it's good. The market, from the perspective that the market really is hungry for something to latch onto. But you got to remember when investing in derivatives, which is like goblin grits here, that what goes up does come down. There might be a pump. And we saw that with not okay bears. They went all the way to half a ETH before they were delisted off OpenSea, and now they're sitting at about 0.1. Whereas OK Bears, the original project, is holding relatively stable at just under 200 Solana. So yeah, guys, that's my take on goblins. I commend the volume, but I think it's that whoever founded this project is as surprised as everyone else is. And as it stands now, they have no intention to deliver anything except for what they have. To their credit, they've been very clear about that. Very clear. So no one can hold anything against them for delivering nothing. But unless they change this tune, not a project for me. So that covers it. Let's jump into comments and see what we've got going on here. JR Sports Cards, what I think of Moonbird Oddities as an investment, given the lack of info on the project, trying to decide between that and other dealers. Okay, so obviously not financial advice. Your safer bet is other deed lands, just because it is, it's Bored Ape, Yacht Club, Yuga Labs, which is the biggest. With that said, Proof Collective is massive, and Kevin Rose is very well respected. Proof Collective 75 ETH floor is not a joke. It's comparable to a Bored Ape Yacht Club, more or less. I mean, give or take, 10, 20%. I don't have any Kevin Rose items personally, and that's because it's just been too expensive to get into. I mean, Moonbirds at 20 ETH. I'd rather. So I've answered it myself. I'd rather have a mutant than a Moonbirds. I would rather have a Bored Ape than a Proof Collective, and I would rather have a Meebit or a Kennel Club over this Moonbird Oddities. So I do think that Yuga Labs they are the OGs in the space. They are the established, leaders at the moment. That can change, meaning that someone could take that spot, but I don't foresee it. I think they'll always be what they are, especially when they bought, when Yuga Labs bought CryptoPunks. They cemented their role, because before it was CryptoPunks or Bored Apes. So if I had to choose right now if I had nothing, no NFTs, let's just forget, and I had to choose between an Other Deed or Moonbird Oddities, I would buy an Other Deed. The only hesitation is that there's 100,000 Other Deeds, and there's going to be another 100,000 coming out in August. So that's a massive collection size. Whereas with our Moonbird Oddities, I think there's 10,000. Yeah, it's a 10,000 collection, and that does hold some weight in it. The collection size. Personally, I stick to it. I would still get an Other Deed long term. That's there. I think the upside on Other Deeds is bigger than people imagine. So it might take a while. Again, I've said it numerous times on this channel. Building a game is not easy, even for Yuga Labs, and also we know that they're going to have to do it on a different blockchain. Ethereum cannot handle the amount of transactions they're going to need, and they also don't want it on the Ethereum blockchain where a user is going to have to pay a gas fee for each and every action that they do every time they take a resource or use a resource. So they a good 6 months to a year, best case, in my personal opinion, humble opinion, before they can launch anything Other Deed. In that time, they very well might, and knowing them, they will, launch other stuff. And as they leak information or release information, those prices will go up. But I think the upside for Other Deeds, especially like once they launch what they're launching, is huge. Whereas I don't think you're going to see a Moonbird Oddities above, best case, in best scenario, 10 Ethereum. Whereas I do see 12 months down the line, a year and a half, 2 years later, Other Deeds could easily be sitting 20, 30 ETH, depending on how they play their cards. But Yuga play their cards right, and they know how to roll out things. So yeah, that's my personal opinion, but it's a great question. And not an easy one. The collection size makes it difficult. If Other Deeds was a 10,000 collection at a 3 ETH floor, there would be no doubt in my mind at all. And now there's a little doubt just because of that collection size. Pleasure, JR, anytime. All right, guys, I see that. I know the market is down. Look, I've been in bear markets before that have been extended, like a long time, 2 months, 2.5 months. Feels horrible. Feels like it's going to be like this forever. It's not. The blockchain technology is not going anywhere at all, and NFTs are a part of that. And the really good ones are not going anywhere for now either. And the same with crypto. Crypto is not going anywhere. Yes, there'll be ups, there'll be downs. But again, we know that this is not isolated to just NFTs and crypto. This is, the NASDAQ is doing the same. The Dow Jones is doing the same. We know why it's happening, and we're tracking that. So it's not like we're sitting here and the whole world economy is bullish and doing well and NFTs are down. Then I would be concerned. It's not that. We are tracking the NASDAQ at the moment as far as crypto goes, and actually NFTs from an ETH value have held up a lot better, the blue chip ones, than I would imagine in this type of scenario. Yes, ETH is now worth less, but still, they're holding relatively well. And that's why I do think there's still quite a bit of downside space. I really do, personally, unfortunately. I do think we can see floor prices a lot lower than they are currently as this extends longer and longer. But we will get out of it, like we always do, and that risk appetite will come back. And we actually just one massive event away from that. So, I mean, I was just thinking, MetaMask was saying that they're going to do some sort of airdrop like months ago. They're not going to say that and not do it. If they had to come out now and do sort of a SOS thing, you remember that airdrop SOS where we all got whatever, and really make it generous based on the amount of transactions you've done on MetaMask or traded, that could straight away cause a pump in the market. Might be a short-lived one, but people are just waiting for that next big thing, and it's a catch-22 because projects that are relatively good are failing if they're trying to mint now. So most projects don't want to mint now, but without something big like a great mint or something like that, it's hard to get out of this rut. But we will. And it will happen naturally when it's supposed to happen. So for now, try keep your heads up, try stay positive with it, be very cautious and very calculated in your investments, do your research properly. You've got the time now, unlike when everything's going crazy and there's 20 minutes a day and you're checking the floor price and you're trying to sell this and buy this. There's time now to research and really pick your moves carefully to hold you in a good position when the bulls return. And again, the bulls will return. So now is when money is made. By purchasing the correct things now, you can hold yourself in good stead when the market turns around. And those are simply just blue chips. Like don't spend an ETH on a Goblin Town. Rather spend an ETH on a World of Women Galaxy, or actually 2 World of Women Galaxies, which is crazy. Don't spend 3 ETH on whatever project that's been out for a month and no one knows why it's 3 ETH. Rather spend 3 ETH on Cool Cats, or even World of Women is 4 Ethereum. I mean, it's just crazy. So pick those blue chips, and I've done a lot of videos on those and examples of those type of projects. Anything in the Bored Ape Yacht Club thing, anything in the RTKF Clone X Nike ecosystem, even Oddities at the moment. I mean, rather buy an Oddities phase 2 pass than a Goblin, in my opinion. So I'm saying where we usually used to be risky because everything was 10xing, and and we would usually now don't. Be very selective in what you buy, and buy blue chips with long-term potential. That's how you'll make money at this stage. And even in my opinion, Bitcoin, it could still go much lower. It is possible, really and truly. It could go much lower, and everyone who knows what they're talking about thinks that it is going to go much lower. So I'm not saying necessarily buy now, maybe dollar cost average, buying every couple of weeks at a set interval, but Bitcoin will be back at 60, 70 at some stage. There's no doubt in my mind. And Ethereum will track that. So yeah, that's my advice for you guys. Stay positive. Thank you for joining me. If you haven't already, hit the like, subscribe, come join our Discord. I'll see you on Friday for a free